Hello, folks. Welcome to season 3 of our On the Call series produced by the Stars Among Us. I'm Ozzy, and I thank you for tuning in to this thank you tour of mine, as each episode is a thank you card to someone who has impacted my life. And on this 11th episode of season 3, I'm shining light on Phil Penman. Hello, Phil.
Hey, Ozzy. How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. So, folks, I want to caption Phil before we ask some great questions of him. Phil is a photographer featured in Vanity Fair, GQ, Tempest, Frames magazine just this year so far. He has a book out, a debut book called Street, and that was launched as the #1 new release on Amazon for street photography, and has since become a bestseller and featured at MoMA in New York with his box set of photos. He's also captured historical moments such as September 11th terrorist attacks, and due to his style, versatility, and dedication to his craft, has won him a prestigious award and exhibitions and a distinction as one of the 52 most influential street photographers, alongside industry legends such as Henry Cartier-Bresson and Sebastião Salgado. Moving on, Phil has documented a lot of New York streets and street people and street scenes, totally immersed in New York for the over 25 years. He's also had clients ranging from the New York Review books to The Guardian. He has photographed celebrated living legends when he first landed in the US, including J.Lo, we all know that's Jennifer Lopez, George Foreman, Bill Gates, and I am going to ask him the first question, which is, who is your most memorable or intriguing person to shoot?
I would have to say it was Christopher Reeve.
That's Superman.
Yeah, he's just absolute living legend. I met him through, I was doing a feature for the Independent newspaper, which is like a British paper. And all I remember was, it's kind of like the only time that I've ever been starstruck, to be honest. I drove up to his house. It was like up in Westchester. You kind of like knock on the door and you expect like someone to come to the door. And all of a sudden, Christopher comes to the door and he opens the door, and I just remember being very starstruck in that moment, because it's kind of like we all, it's Superman. And, first question is, do you want a cup of tea? So it was kind of a freak out to be drinking cups of tea with Christopher Reeve in his kitchen. It was kind of cool experience. That was after the accident. So he was in the wheelchair when I met him, and like, all I remember is just like, he's probably one of the guys that had the funniest sense of humor I've ever met. He obviously, like, his best buddy was Robin Williams, and he just had me and the reporter in hysterics the whole time that we were there.
Wow, that's also sort of impactful, looking at this giant of a man that we all looked up to as Superman in the chair, but still a giant in the chair.
Oh, no, totally. He just kept pushing forward, It was the thing that was tragic was when he passed away, and then his wife passed away, like, I think 6 months later.
Yeah.
That was brutal. Absolutely brutal.
What was one of the scariest shoots or meetings that you've had?
I've had many. Let's put it that way.
Wait a minute. You're laughing, and I'm talking scary, but you're laughing.
Yeah, I think because it's happened to me so many times now. So I've had multiple altercations where I've had like at least 10 guns pulled on me. To name one, there's an actor called Jan Michael Vincent who he used to play Airwolf. And this was like when I was back in Los Angeles when I first moved here, and I was doing like celebrity work. We'd had a tip off from the police, believe it or not, that he was doing his community service in the back of this police station. I'm on one side of the exit, and the other photographer I'm working with is on the other side. And we see him, he's pulling like a garbage can along in the back of their parking lot. And I get a few pictures, and, be mindful, we're kind of, when you work in LA, you're very discreet. So you're shooting through like tinted windows in the back of the car. We get these pictures, and then all of a sudden, like, I don't know, like an hour or two later, I'm sat in the car, And I think about 5 or 6 squad cars must have surrounded my car. And everyone, they just jumped out, and I must have had at least 15 guns on me. They didn't know, obviously, that I was there to take pictures of Michael Vincent. All they just saw was a guy in a black Mazda who was staking out a police station for 5 hours. So that kind of stuff happened to me quite a bit. And then I had an altercation once in New York with the Secret Service. I remember Brad and Angelina were staying at the Waldorf Astoria, and a friend of mine, he was working the security for them. He said, just be very careful about taking pictures near the hotel, because obviously these guys will just pull a gun on you. No big deal to them. And the thing was, George Bush was staying at the hotel at the same time. That's why all the Secret Service were there. I remember they were there for like 2 weeks. Like, this is in the middle of the summer, and we're all losing this money because we can't shoot Brad and Angelina. And then I think like on the second week, you know, we slowly, we can inch closer and closer to the hotel. And I'm by this police barricade. And then every time this convoy would go through, I was on my phone. At the time, I was going for a mortgage for my house. All of a sudden, the Secret Service guy just comes up to me in a huff, and he's like, right, what the fuck are you doing? Every time a police escort comes through this gate, you're on your phone. And I turned around and said, well, you know, you're not really doing us any service. We've just lost 2 weeks worth of wages because of this shit. And we'd be kind of happy when you leave. And he said, what are you doing on your phone? I said, I'm going for a mortgage. You can have a look at my email. You can probably even tell me if I'm going to get the mortgage or not. So to your listeners, it's not a good idea to argue with Secret Service, right? So he's like, right. You know, he says, look, enough of this shit, all right? So me and my friend, we're walking down the street, and then all of a sudden we're surrounded by 20 Secret Service, backs up against the wall. We show our ID, and they kind of knew what was going on. They said to me, look, we know that you're losing money and all this, and they let me go. My friend, they banned him from like a 5-block radius from the hotel. He didn't listen. He came back, and next thing you know, I see him. He had about 7 undercover police officers watching him. And yeah, just don't mess with the Secret Service. That's the moral of that story.
Wow. From college, got into the press. Give me an idea as to your journey from college, studying, I believe, photography, and then your first job.
Yeah, so I started photography when I was 15. My father was a photographer, and I come from like traditional black and white background, working in a darkroom. I studied for about 5 years, doing kind of all genres of photography, learning my skills. And then I got a job working for like a local newspaper. I did that for a year, moved into doing like corporate work. I was like corporate portrait photographer for Microsoft, and I did like marketing campaigns. But the goal was, I always wanted to live in America. So one day on the job, I meet this guy, and he said, oh, you should call my buddies Kevin and Gary in Los Angeles and see if they got any jobs going. So I moved over here, and that celebrity stuff is like the furthest thing from my mind that I ever wanted to do. It was like the last thing, but it was one of these things. It's like, I have to do it in order to be able to stay in the States. And it was good. I learned a lot from it, but at the same time, it put me in a position where I was able to do portrait shoots with like Christopher Reeve and Bill Gates. So it's not all bad. And I've met a lot of very cool people from it as well. Mm-hmm. You know,
with what's going on with photography now, like you look at things on the Instagram, right?
Yeah.
What is your feeling about that type of photography versus the classical type of photography?
There's that on it, but the problem is, you got to remember, you're looking at a picture on a phone. You know, it's a tiny little phone. You know, how do you converse a dramatic street scene where there's lots of intricate things going on onto a tiny little phone? You can't. It's like a certain genre of photography is very popular, like very abstract work, silhouettes, reflection kind of stuff is very popular. But the problem is, like, if you put up anything meaningful, it just gets completely ignored, or worse yet, you get shadow banned, like the censorship on it. So, like, I had a scary one this week where someone wanted to quit photography because they weren't getting any likes on their feed. And I'm like, how are you judging your talent based on a computer algorithm? Mm-hmm. And it's really scary that we've gotten to that point where people think a photograph is good because of the amount of likes it got. And it has nothing to do with that. So, you can use all these things to your advantage to promote your work, like social media, but it shouldn't be the be all and end all.
So much is done in color, so that what you do with your artistry in black and white, it just stands out. It's like, I love to watch some of these shows or the films or the movies in color, but then there's this film noir love that I have, which is
right.
When I look at your pictures.
The nicest compliment I ever got was when someone will say to me, I can always tell it's your picture on my feed before I even see the name. That's because so much of it's so generic. I heard a scary fact of all the data ever captured in history. 98% of it was in the last 2 years.
Wow.
That's a hell of a lot of selfies.
Wow.
That's a scary fact.
The whole selfie thing for me, I'm still on the bench with, because there's this look that you have that everybody seems to have.
It's not just that. It's the fact that people go and manipulate the picture and give themselves
right.
That's scary.
When you look at how you have photographed the Oculus, or the photo that you call Sky Rats, or the one that you call the Turkey Walker, or the businessman caught in the steam from the underground. I mean, that is like genius, because, each one tells a story, and you could sit there and look at it for ages.
You know what I think? A lot of it, like I was trapped, and when I was doing the celebrity stuff, there was a lot of money going around, and you kind of get caught up in that. And it doesn't make you happy. Like, money doesn't make you happy. I know guys who were making like $50,000, $60,000 a month, and they were miserable. And I cracked. I was absolutely miserable every single day. My poor wife just had to deal with me moaning every day. So I actually went cold turkey off photography altogether. I needed something to help me concentrate on what I wanted to do, my own work. So I actually took a job in 2015 working for a cycling company selling cycling clothing. And I did that at the same time that I was doing my own work. I did the cycling job long enough that my own photography would take off and I could quit the job and make a living out of doing my work that I love. And what I find is, if you're passionate about what you're doing, what you're shooting, success will come to you. Like, it comes out in the work. You can tell that someone's into it. So I found for myself that the success didn't really start to come until I stopped caring about the money and just get on with doing stuff that I enjoy.
When I look at some of your work, each piece is a story. You're doing what you're doing, getting out there, whether it's by car or bike, and it's a job that you do alone, like a writer.
Right.
So if you're on a bike, you're carrying weight, or if you're walking, you're carrying weight, and then you sit down to gather this particular piece that maybe you've accidentally come in contact with, or you've been able to maneuver. Very much like a writer. It's somewhat is a lonely job. No,
it's very lonely, to be honest. It's weird because they say that you kind of know your best friends tend to be normally from when you were at college. And I definitely find that the same for me. My best friends are still my friends from college when I was like 16, 17 years old. And it's like, it's a very lonely kind of existence. I find that the conversations that I enjoy are the conversations I have with people on the street. So, yesterday I was chatting with some homeless guy for about an hour on the street, and today, I was chatting with some guy who asked me if I knew about the Family Man exhibition. And, it's those sporadic conversations on the street that kind of make me want to be out there and do it. I just find that a lot of my more meaningful conversations tend to be with just people that are on the street.
And they're still sort of like on a one-on-one basis, correct?
Yeah, it's a one-on-one. When I was doing the celebrity stuff, I was out on the street 12 hours a day, every single day. It was that bad that, Google used to think that I lived at Finelli's in Soho because, the tracking, I was there more than I was at home. So that would be like my coffee spot. Whenever I needed a break, I would just ride around the city all day, every day, and you've got like 30 pounds on your back, camera gear. They still sold coffee there for $1, and a lot of the time they give it to me for free. So whenever I needed a break, I'd stand outside Finelli's and watch the world go by.
Not a bad place to stand, actually. So what is your motivation to get out?
I love creating images. Absolutely love it. It's very addictive, and it really is like you can't be halfway in or out. It's all the way in. If you're going to do it and you're going to do it for a living, you're thinking about it day and night, but you're doing that because you actually enjoy doing that.
Well, that's one of the things that endeared me to you too, was that when we were on that shoot in the middle of COVID with masks and finding a space and a place to shoot in New Jersey, and seeing you just like a kid in a candy store rolling around on the ground with cars passing by or cars coming to. I mean, it was just like, usually everybody's so serious when they're doing the commercials, You were animated, everything else didn't care, but that shot and how you took it and how you put it together, it was wonderful to see.
Life's too short for seriousness, That was a good shoot. It was a good cause as well. It was like the shoot was for family reach, and it was basically people that have lost everything. They've just gotten cancer, or a member of their family has gotten cancer, and family reach will help you with your bills. So the shoot that I was doing, I think there was one of 6 images that I shot, the one that we did with you. And it was just, it was a good cause, and it allowed me to shoot the type of work that I enjoyed. You're shooting in your style. It's not like you're having to shoot other stuff. Like I've done plenty of shoots where you have to make it look like something else or another type of photographer that the agency like. But no, that was just fun to do. The only thing that was tough was it was like, during, what was it, like middle of summer that we did?
Yep.
Yeah. But it's doing really well. Like it's up for a bunch of advertising awards. The particular picture that you were in got recognized as Leisure's Archive magazine print ad of the week. That's kind of like that's like the global gold standard advertising magazine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's like the big one. That's the one that all the big creative agencies want to win or be in. So there you go. So that was rewarding. Yeah.
Tell me something. You had a particular focus based on things that you'd seen, that you had taken on, that had brought eyes to certain situations. I want you to explain that a little bit.
Oh, you mean like during the pandemic stuff?
Yeah.
So I still shoot a lot of stuff for like the New York Review of Books. And I have a relatively decent kind of like social media following. So it's nice that if you shoot something, that it can get out to a crowd. Like it's not a lost message. I've been shooting pretty much every single day for like the last year and a half. I was shooting for the newspapers, or I was doing articles. And two of the biggest things that people are kind of unaware of was the amount of construction that's been going on in the city over the last year has just been out of control. I just did a feature recently called Then and Now, and it's like the same scene from a year and a half ago and kind of how it looked in March this year. And pretty much in every picture, there's a new building has popped up. And then the other thing was that people didn't really even want to talk about was the homelessness. And it kind of annoyed me that, like, for those people that were out there on the streets, that was like the biggest thing that you saw was just how many newly homeless we had. And it wasn't even getting mentioned. Like the only way it was getting mentioned was that they were dirtying up the subway at night, It's bad enough that they weren't getting anything.
You see anything? What do you mean?
Well, the people that were already on the street, there were certain hotels that were set up, and they were set up for newly homeless. Okay, or they were the inmates from the prisons that were let out. They put them in these hotels, but the people that were already homeless on the street, they were told to go back into a shelter. That's like the last place you want to be. You know, they're more dangerous in the streets most of the time. So they weren't getting masks or anything else. So while everyone else is being told to stay at home, you've got all these homeless out there just walking around. So I decided I was going to kind of make it a personal mission to tell the story of this, but not in kind of like shooting down, looking, you know, at people sleeping on the street, but more of talking to people on the street and doing their portraits and finding out about their lives. And I was actually walking down Broadway and 13th, and I saw the sanitation truck were like clearing the street of all these possessions. And this guy had a great jacket on. It said, "Fuck everything." And I went up to him, he was sleeping on the street. And I said, "Do you mind if I do a picture of the back of your jacket?" And he asked me, "Oh, where are you from?" And I said, "Well, I'm English." And he said, "Yeah, well, so am I, but whereabouts?" And it turned out that we actually lived about 5 miles apart from each other.
In England? In
England. We both come from, and here we are now on the street in New York City. So I met a lot of cool people. I still stay in touch with a lot of people that I photographed, but I released that article, and that was in the New York Review of Books as well. And that got some attention. It was just good to do.
So do you have a favorite shot?
Oof. A favorite picture?
Yeah.
The next one I'm going to get. I hope. No, I have pictures that are meaningful. But I wouldn't say like I have a favorite shot. Like I've had experiences with the camera. A lot of the time it's more about the experience than the actual end result, to be honest, for me.
Right. Now you also have exhibitions here and in England, right?
Yeah, over the last few months I had a solo show in Harrods, London. And then I just had one in Mayfair, London, just finished a couple of days ago. And my next one is going to be in August in Bellevue, out on the West Coast. It'd be nice to do another one in New York soon.
That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be good to do. I'm working on some more projects related to the pandemic, so maybe break that out in a year or two.
Well, Phil, I just want to thank you very, very much for coming on and spending this time. And to my audience, I want to thank you as well for spending your time with us today. Phil is an absolutely fabulous photographer. Phil, give us your website.
Yeah, it's philpenman.com. It's Phil.
M-A-N.
Yeah, Penman.
Right.
And then you can, and if you're on social media, you can just look me up, Phil Penman on Instagram. Keeping it simple.
So folks, please care to share, and remember, when you're on your beat, stay on the sunny side of the street safely and be mask conscious. Check out his photos. They're absolutely wonderful. You want to sit in front of them for hours just losing yourself in them. Phil, thank you very, very, very much for, everything.
Thanks so much, Ozzy. Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Till the next time.
Yeah, you stay well, okay?
You too.
All right, bye now.
Take care. Ciao.
Ciao.